Hopefully that made up for 6 a.m. on a gloomy day in the city. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. A Thursday, that is, here at 95.7. The Game, of course, on the Morning Roast. Joe Shasky, the Butcher, Bonte Hill. We got Spadoni. We got Lutman. Good morning to everybody out there getting off their graveyard shifts. If you're at work, getting ready for work, good morning to you. Good morning to everybody out there, including those dancers who probably had a great holiday weekend. We won't talk too much about that. Good morning to all our chatters on YouTube. I almost said the Chatty House. I got ESPN 1320 in my head because they're feeling themselves. Twitch and the Comcast Business Text Line. Good morning to everybody out of school right now, hitting those swimming pools up, enjoying their summer vacations, camps or whatnot. By the way, some quick news here. The Warriors shook up their player development department. Seth Cooper, who coached the G League team, a really good dude, got to meet him last year. He's going to be with the big league club this year, heading their player development program on the court. And David Fatoki, who was the GM of the Santa Cruz Warriors. David, man, congrats. He's joining the big leagues here with the Golden State Warriors. So good for them. The Warriors shaking up the front office. But the Giants, they badly needed a win last night. Boy, they were scuffling. Wasn't the cleanest game, but they win 2-0 after a gem by Alex Cobb, and that's the way you draw it up, Shasky. You get the Cobb, you get through 6, then you give the ball to the Rogers brothers for the 7th and 8th, and then Camilo Duvall closes out yesterday. So the Giants get a much-needed day off. Flem gets a much-needed day off. David B. Flemming, that is, here on the Morning Roast, as he is every single week, the voice of the Giants. Also, you catch him on ESPN, catch him all over the place, college basketball, college football, you name it. Flem, good morning, man. How was your holiday weekend?
Well, I worked, and I stayed up really late a few of those nights. But otherwise, it was fun. It was fun to be in New York, and then really fun to get back home.
Can you explain how tough it is? I guess because a lot of common fans like us, right, will say, "Boy, how could pros get tired, man? Going from East Coast to West Coast, they got chartered flights." That's a tough turnaround, though, right? Can you explain how tough that is to play on Sunday Night Baseball in New York City and then have to fly cross country? What time do you guys get home? What time do you get in your bed? What time do you have to be at the yard for a night game the next day?
Yeah, well, just a little quick timeline. The last homestand ended on a Sunday, so we drove to the airport. We got on an airplane to Toronto. We flew. It's about a 4.5-hour flight to Toronto from here. Mm-hmm. So we landed at about 1:30 a.m. Toronto time, maybe 2. Then you get off the plane because it's an international flight. You go and wait for your luggage inside. You get the luggage. You go through the customs lines because you're a regular passenger, so it's not like a normal charter flight. So by the time we got to the hotel in Toronto, it was probably about 3:30 a.m., something like that, Toronto time. So that was a late night, and you try to sleep in the next day and catch up. Then Toronto, the Blue Jays didn't give us a day game travel day, so we played on Thursday. We played 7:07 p.m. and played a 2-hour and 30-minute game, whatever it was. Got on the plane, drove all the way out to the airport, got on the plane, went to New York, got into the hotel after going through customs back in the U.S. at probably about 3 a.m. New York time. And so then that's another day where you're trying to probably fell asleep at 4 by the time we got our luggage in New York. Then play a game Friday, then have Sunday Night Baseball. We played at 7 p.m. We landed back in San Francisco. I think I was inside my house at 4:30 a.m. On Sunday, or early Monday morning. So that's 3 times in 1 week where you're getting in at 4 a.m.-ish. I don't care who you are, how young you are. It's hard to get your body feeling like you're right. So that is part of it. The other part of it that's going on with the Giants right now is they're just so beat up, and we're 90 games into the season almost. So the idea, the premise of your question, I totally agree with, because people ask me all the time, how do these guys, you're getting paid millions, they're young, they're in shape. You play this many games in a row, you're beat down, period. Like, it's hard to go to the post every day in this sport, every single day, with all that travel and the late night and trying to catch up on your sleep and recover and treatment and all that stuff and stay in a routine and still do your same pregame work. And if you have a fresh, healthy team, it's a lot easier because you rotate bodies in, you give guys days off. That is the opposite of what the Giants have right now. And it's been a massive challenge, and it's caused this skid, and they're just trying to survive to get to the break and maybe regroup a little bit.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of insane travel, to be quite honest with you, regardless of, what the profession is. That's very interesting. That's kind of, leads you into Alex Cobb yesterday. I mean, they needed that. They desperately needed that. They needed a starter to go 6 innings and serve up no runs and do what he did. And I thought that was just a great, great start from him for a variety of reasons, both himself and then what it does to the rest of the staff, alleviating the bullpen pressure. That was big time yesterday from Alex Cobb.
Yeah, big time. And you totally lean on in this sport in those times where you're kind of in crisis. You lean on your starter to just bail you out and then pick everybody else up, because that's how much the starter can influence the game if he's really good, or in the opposite way if he's really bad. It made Monday frustrating because the Giants, Logan Webb flew back ahead of the team, so he wouldn't have to, at least on the final leg, have to endure all that stuff. And Logan pitched really well, and they had a lead in the later innings, and it got weird. And, sometimes that happens. Those games do happen. But it was bad timing for it, because that was the game circled. Like, okay, through all of this turmoil, we can win Monday because we got Logan going, and he should be fine. And they were set up to win it, and they didn't win it. But you're right about last night, Cobb. And look, it's a good reminder. Cobb missed 2 weeks. So 2 weeks before, he was battling that oblique thing, and so he was pitching through it, but he obviously wasn't his normal self. Go fast for rewind back to before that. This guy is a top, top 10 for sure, starting pitcher in the National League. I mean, he has been for the last 2 years. And last night was a good reminder of that.
Dave Flemming here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. One thing Shasky and I were kicking around yesterday was the lineup, right? And we know this is the way Farhan and Gabe Kapler have been doing business since they arrived to San Francisco. You never know who's batting second, never know who's batting leadoff. You get Lamont Wade Jr. for the most part, but you'll get it Austin Slater. You'll get a Jock Peterson. You'll get a Luis Matos in the 6 hole, maybe the 7 hole, maybe the 2 hole, maybe the 9 hole. Basically, what I'm getting at, Flem, is you talk to these players every single day. Does it affect the player every single day to not know where they're batting? Because you look at some of these other teams like the Braves and the Marlins and you name it, the Astros, the Rangers. They have a consistent lineup every single day. You know who's basically batting 1 through 7, 1 through 8. There may be some tweaks here and there, but how much does that bug a player? Or are these professionals where they're saying, hey, we just get to the yard, we just go to the box and we hit? What about the consistency of a lineup here?
Yeah, but look, I think you'll get 2 different answers. Probably every player would prefer, I know exactly what I'm doing every day. Like, right. If you give a player a choice, that player wants that. But this particular team, when you ask that same question to these guys, nobody is like, oh man, this kills me. I don't know what. You never hear that. I've never one time heard that. Like, this guy's killing me. I don't know where I am, right. Or no grumblings, no even hints of that. So I don't think these guys are really affected by it. The other part is, this year at least, the plan is, and at times it's been executed, to have a more consistent lineup. Lamont's your leadoff guy. Thairo's your number 2 hitter. Maybe Jock's your number 3. J.D. Davis is your cleanup hitter. Then you got Conforto. Then you got Haniger. Then you have Yastrzemski. Like, on paper, that's how it's supposed to be, and just take that paper and crumple it up and throw it in the trash, because it's obvious the Giants aren't going to be healthy all year. I mean, they just aren't. Every single time they get somebody back, they lose another key player, and it's really frustrating, and it's frustrating for everybody in that room. I think the Thairo Estrada injury was a gut punch the other day. Nobody saw that coming. After you saw it look bad in New York, but you go get the X-ray in the X-ray room at Citi Field, and it comes back negative. And you think, okay, we dodged a bullet. Thairo, I think they were thinking he might go on the injury list and just miss this week. Hey, let's give him the week. Then you get the All-Star break and just make sure everything's 100%. You're only costing a guy 6 games, 5 games, whatever he was scheduled to play. And then you come and do the MRI, and there's a broken bone, and you might be out 6 weeks. I think everybody down there was just stunned by that. And I know I was. And it hit me hard. Like, God dang, this team just cannot catch a break health-wise. So I think that was a part of the last few days, too. There was a little hangover, like, oh, my God, again? Another key guy's going down? That one hurt.
Well, Again, this is an unintended consequence, but it does present an opportunity for someone like Casey Schmidt. And I'm looking at Casey right now. He's won for his last 20. He's batting 140 over his last 30 games. It hasn't been good. But the glove is there. Like, he's making plays defensively that give me encouragement. And I know his average really stinks right now. So where are you at with Casey Schmidt? Because I feel like I want to see him play here, and I don't want to see him get dropped down to the minors. But I will listen to the argument that maybe he's just getting exposed at the big league level.
Yeah, I think you and I probably feel the same way about this. I think Casey, it's a great opportunity for him, and I think the Giants' default is let's play Casey.
Okay.
They want that to happen. They want him to take that job for as long as Thairo's out, they want him to be the primary guy there. And last night you saw it. Like, he made 3 or 4 excellent defensive plays and one just truly spectacular.
Flem, he's so good. At second base, you realize how great he is defensively because he's made some plays up the middle that are special.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that replay last night of that smash that J.P. Crawford did and watch his hands and just how natural and reactive and instinctive his glove was there. Just, you cannot teach that stuff. The guy is special. He's got incredible defensive tools. And so I think my preference is, and I know I've asked, the Giants' preference is Casey has this job. You know what you're getting from him defensively. We've seen the upside offensively, but this is a do-it league. This isn't a try hard or you're pat you on the back. Like, ultimately, you got to have some better at bats. I think the process has been better. I think he's had less chase. He's hit some balls hard the last few games where you feel like, okay, the swing's coming around. He's pulling the ball a little more. I think that's a good sign for him. But there is a point, and it may be coming soon, like, you got to do it. But you do have to show some results. And so for Casey, you look on his face, you can see it. Rookies are amazing, right? Like, they haven't been through the wars, and they wear it on their facial expressions. And every time we show a close up of Casey out there, he's hurting. It is not the same kid who was bouncing around, big smiles, high-fiving everybody. And that's, to me, where, like, at some point there may need to be a reset. Let him go down, get some of that confidence back so he's not grinding it out so much day to day.
Flem, I know you can't really talk about trades or player personnel or things of that nature, but I'm looking at this road trip coming up after the break. Now, you got 3 against the Rockies. Get healthy there, hopefully, and beat up on the Colorado Rockies, which the Giants have done under Kapler and Farhan. They've done it a lot, man. They've owned Colorado. But you come out of the break and you're playing Pittsburgh, you're playing Cincinnati, playing Washington. Then you got that one game on a Monday, July 24th, in Detroit. And it feels like it's a buyer's market because there's a lot of teams that feel like they're in it. How aggressive do you think Farhan will be up at the deadline, or do you think he'll wait for that road trip? Will that road trip kind of determine Farhan's hand here to trade deadline, Flem?
I would have said, if he'd asked me that question even like 3 days ago, I would have said for sure wait. Because I think Farhan's philosophy, and I agree with it, is every day of an extra data point tells you more about what you need and what you don't need. Like, if you're really going to make a move where you give up an asset, give up something significant, you want to make sure, am I targeting the right spot? Does another need pop up? Like, that's the right way to view it. Like, you even though there's like a sense of urgency to get help now, figure out exactly what you need before you make that move. If you only have 1 or 2 moves,
what do you think? I mean, obviously starting pitching's in the mix, but could an argument be made for a middle infielder too?
Oh, heck yeah! Now, I mean,
like Tim Anderson's a name. Like, I know you can't talk about other players and stuff, but like Tim Anderson's a guy that could be out there, and I don't really know if he's a second baseman. He did that in the World Baseball Classic, or a shortstop. He's just a really good player who's still barreling the ball, but the average doesn't reflect how good he can be.
Yeah, I think he's a great name. I'd have him circled big time. It's a tough market to buy in because there are a lot of teams that are in it. And I think that philosophy may have changed. Like, I do think that it's possible that the wait as long as you can has changed in the last few days with Thairo's injury. Because, Crawford is we're seeing it with Brandon again here. Like, and it's cruel because this is just what happens when you're 36 and you're trying to play one of the most demanding positions in sports. Like, every time you feel, man, Crawford is here's the old Crawford. Look at him. He looks great. And then you ride him hard and the performance just dips. It just does. And it's not his fault. It's just what happens. And so they need to give him a blow more often than they are right now. Like, they have to take the foot off the gas pedal with him. So now you're talking about two spots in the middle infield where you might need some help if, Wisely and Schmidt aren't ready to be true regular big league contributors. Everybody was hoping Casey was that guy, and maybe he still can be, but right now he's scuffling. And so Tim Anderson is a good name. There are not a lot of other, when you scan the teams that are going to sell, there aren't a lot of other names out there where you're just confident, because you also have to make sure, am I getting a guy who's going to be better than what we already have?
Yeah.
You got to be sure about that. Mm-hmm. So the bar's pretty high. Maybe it got lowered in the last few days with Thairo's injury, but the bar's pretty high.
No doubt about that. Flem, I always love asking you a question outside of baseball here. So I don't think we've talked to you since Chris Paul was traded to the Golden State Warriors. And you're a big Warriors fan. We saw Pajimski in Summer League. A lot of Warrior fans are going crazy over him out of Santa Clara University. I know you called a lot of those games. So quickly here, before we let you go, your thoughts on the CP3 deal and Pajimski's prospects here with the Golden State Warriors. Kid plays, has a good feel for the game.
Yeah, I like him. I talked to him in Vegas, had a nice long conversation with him. I enjoyed talking with him. I like watching him play. Plays his tail off. He plays really, really hard. And I do think, that's more of a college thing than an NBA thing, but I think that gets you something at the NBA level. I think Pajemski can be a good player. He's not as, he plays, but he led the league in rebounding. But then he goes to the combine and measures, 6'3.5" or something like that without shoes on, which kind of shocked me because when I was chatting with him, I thought he was 6'5" or something like that, 6'6", and he's 6'3". Oh my gosh! So that gives me a little pause because there is, if you're not going to be a point guard, that's tough. So we'll see if he can pull that off. But I like him. Look, I'm going to sound like a grumpy old man here, and I don't want to do that, but I'm sure this came from Steph and Draymond. Like, let's get CP3. That'd be good. But I miss the days when you hated a guy and you hated him forever.
Yeah.
Like now, all of a sudden, we're going to be buddies with this guy who probably more than any one player over the years. I mean, I guess LeBron in a different way, but to me, CP3 of all the guys, that's the guy that the Warriors battled with and did not like. And he didn't like them, and screw you, I want to beat you, and I'm pissed when you beat me. And
he's now a Warrior. Just like Richard Sherman was a 49er. Come on.
Oh, my God. I just can't wrap my mind around that one. I hope he plays well and helps them win, I guess, but I'm a little old school in that way. Like, what happened to blood rivalries and holding a grudge against a guy forever?
So who would be the guy that would join the Giants that would make your blood boil?
Well, I mean, there's probably several on the Giants, on the Dodgers.
Max Muncy?
Max Muncy might be one. Machado would definitely be one from his time in L.A. and San Diego. Puig in the old days would definitely been the guy, back when he had so much beef with Bumgarner, but Puig's disappeared. So that was the one that when you first said that popped in my brain first. I guess, all those years of him screaming at Bum and Bum screaming at him, that would have been a tough one.
Man, that's fun stuff there, man.
Chris Paul, your voice.
We can't believe Chris Paul's here either. That was an emotional show the day after that trade. But, Flev, like we do, Shasky and I, we've come around on it. We're all in on the Chris Paul experience, man. So,
well, once, and if it gets you, if he wins you some more games and gets you closer to a title, I guess you can forgive anything.
That would be wild. Chris Paul hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy with the Golden State Warriors. Oh, that'd be insane. All right, Flem,
like
man.
Brett Butler helping the Giants go to the '89 World Series.
I think I'd be happy about that, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, Flem, you got a day off, then you got the All-Star break next week. Go enjoy your family today. We'll see you on the call.
Hit him straight, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt. Hit him straight. Shasky's going to hit him straight today, too. Where are you playing at, Shasky?
Undisclosed.
Oh, wow. He won't share it with me. Wow.
Yeah, you got to sneak in and sneak out. And I am going to the All-Star game. I'm going to do the telecast for international.
Oh, nice.
I'm going up to Seattle, so I don't know. Well, we'll talk.
Take a day off, Flem.
Little Chambers
Come on, you
Bay.
work too much, man.
Little Chambers Bay for your boy, Dave.
You're making me jealous. How much sleep do you get? Everybody asks me how much sleep I get. How much sleep do you get on average?
Well,
Like 5 hours?
I like Seattle in the summertime. It's just one night, and you go up and have a Monday off and go out on the water. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. That's a good. My wife's going to come up with me.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's like a little all-star break trip, and then I'll go for 4 hours over to the ballpark and talk a little, and then that's it.
Good for you.
Good
Have
for you,
fun.
Flem.
Have
Have
fun
fun.
with your wife.
If we don't catch up next week, maybe we'll do it in a couple days because we want you to get your full time off and get some rest for the second half of the season. Should be exciting for the Giants.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I really do think this is a good team and a playoff team. They I just don't know. Like, they got to get – Lamont's got to get healthy. Conforto's got to get healthy. Slater's got to get healthy. These guys are playing hurt, and let alone the guys who are on the injured list. If we can do that, I feel really good about the second half.
All right, Flem. Take care, man. Have fun.
See you guys.
All right,
See you, buddy.
Dave Flemming here on the Morning Roast joins us every single week.